I used to think red light therapy was as simple as flicking a switch. You turn it on, you stand in front of it, and somehow the magic happens. But after 5 years of helping people with their red light therapy protocols and using it for my own case when I had a motorbike accident that should have disfigured my face, I've realized it's not that simple. There are some things you can do which would ruin your results, and there are other things which would literally 10x your progress. So here are 30 lessons around red light therapy that I wish I knew sooner. Lesson number 1. Have you ever gone to the gym and noticed that everyone is doing something different? Some people are stretching, some people are walking on the treadmill, others are lifting really heavy weights. And the reason for this is that those different people have different goals. Now, red light therapy is very similar to that, where there are different protocols you should follow for different benefits. And that is why the first lesson is to use specific protocols. If you're using a high quality red light therapy device, it'll come with a protocol guide, and have a look in there and find out what the protocol is for the benefit that you want to achieve. Lesson number 2. Have you ever seen products that you generally know are unhealthy, such as an energy drink, that then comes out and says, now with added multivitamins? Well, the red light therapy space is very similar, which is why lesson number 2 is to not fall for marketing hype. What has happened with a lot of red light therapy companies is they now add new wavelengths of light that aren't really backed by a lot of science. So when you're looking at a red light therapy product, you should be focusing on the wavelengths of 630, 660, and 850 nanometers. Lesson number 3. I once worked with someone who was not getting any results with red light therapy. We were back and forth, we were changing his protocol, the time of day, and still he wasn't getting any benefits. And he just happened to send me a picture of one of his sessions, and he was entirely clothed. So he's wearing a hoodie and completely covering his body so that the light couldn't reach his skin. And that is why lesson number 3 is that bare skin is non-negotiable. When you have any clothing or oils, lotions, things like sunscreen or makeup, any of these kind of things will block the light and change the frequency that your body receives. So you want to make sure that there's nothing between your red light therapy device and your bare skin. Lesson number 4. One of my favorite health hacks to do is cold exposure. I love taking a cold swim in the ocean in the morning time. It makes me feel wide awake and alert. But something I have learned is that there is an interaction between cold exposure and red light therapy. So lesson number 4 is to not do any cold exposure before red light therapy. When your body is cold, it constricts your blood vessels, and this means there's not as much blood flow. And what research has shown is that when you are cold and the blood flow is restricted, the red light therapy results aren't as good. Lesson number 5. Have you ever sat in front of a campfire and felt like it was too hot? And then you moved away a few inches and it was just perfect? Well, red light therapy dosing is very similar. And that's why lesson number 5 is that distance matters. As you get further away from a red light therapy device, the light intensity will drop off. So if you have a specific protocol that is saying do 6 inches away, don't sit 12 inches away and expect the same results, because effectively you're going to get half the light dose. Lesson number 6. One of the most well-known benefits associated with red light therapy is for its skin improvements. But there's actually a way that you can literally 10x the results. So lesson number 6 is to use green tea on your skin before your red light therapy sessions if you want to enhance the skin benefits. What this does is the green tea adds antioxidants to your skin. And what research has shown is that when they do green tea before red light therapy, they get the same results in what would have taken 10 months. They can do that in a single month because the antioxidants allow your skin to use the red light therapy better. Lesson number 7. When I used to get sick, I never thought about using my red light therapy device. There is research that shows it improves your immune function, but there wasn't really research that said you could use it while you were sick. I would go to things like vitamin C. However, lesson number 7 is that when you combine red light therapy with methylene blue, it is extremely powerful at getting rid of sickness. Lesson number 8. Regardless of which benefit you're trying to get from red light therapy, if you can boost your stem cells, it means you will get faster results. Stem cells are undifferentiated cells, which basically means they can become any type of cell, and they can circulate to an area of injury and become new, healthy tissue. So lesson number 8 is to boost your stem cells by targeting your shin bones. So the shin bone is a really close part where you can get the red light to your bone marrow, which is where you make your stem cells. And research has shown that by doing 5 minutes aimed at your shins, this will boost your circulating stem cells and the peak effects are seen 3 days later, so you really only have to do these sessions 2 or 3 times per week. Lesson number 9. One of the best headlines that ever came out about red light therapy involved Ben Greenfield, where he said he shone a red light on his balls to triple his testosterone. And this is lesson number 9. If you are a man and you want to boost your testosterone levels, you want to aim your red light therapy device towards your testes. This is where 99% of your testosterone is made. And because we're generally wearing clothes, we're not getting enough natural light exposure in this area. So just by doing 3 minutes of red light therapy aimed towards your testes, you can drastically improve your testosterone levels. Lesson number 10. Imagine you had to go and play a tennis match and you're told you have to play against Djokovic, but you do no warm-up and you just head into this match. The chances are you're most likely to injure yourself. Now, what happens with sunlight is later in the day, there's a lot of ultraviolet, and this can burn you, but red and infrared light is something you get a lot from morning sunlight and helps to prepare your skin so you're less likely to burn. So lesson number 10 is to use red light therapy before any sun exposure. Most of us are not getting enough natural light exposure in the morning, so if you are going to the beach at lunchtime and you know that you didn't spend the entire morning outside, just do a 3-minute red light therapy session. That will prepare your skin better, it activates the melanin in your skin and makes you much less likely to burn. Lesson number 11. Many of the benefits associated with red light therapy are targeting at a specific point, but there are some benefits that require a larger surface area. So lesson number 11 is to target large parts of your body for systemic benefits. Now this will include benefits such as improving your sleep quality, your energy levels, and any widespread kind of pain. Lesson number 12. When you get a red light therapy device, you will probably see that they come with safety goggles, and these are actually optional. Red and infrared light is extremely good for your eyes, and that's why lesson number 12 is that vision is an added benefit that comes with red light therapy. Now, you don't want to be staring directly at the LEDs, they're very bright lights, but whenever you're targeting another part of your body, let's say you're aiming it at your chest, just keep your eyes open, not looking at the light, and allow the ambient light to enter into your eyes. Lesson number 13. Have you ever drunk a glass of water just before you went to bed and then been wide awake and not being able to sleep at all through the night? Probably not. Water is something you could drink at any time of day and it's not going to keep you up at night. Most of the benefits associated with red light therapy are like drinking water. You can do your sessions at any time of the day, but sometimes it does matter. And that is why lesson number 13 is that timing matters sometimes. So certain benefits such as improving your sleep quality, you want to be doing those sessions in the evening time. And then another benefit where timing matters is if you're trying to improve your eyesight, you want to be doing the sessions in the morning. Lesson number 14. Imagine brushing your teeth for 40 minutes, but you only did that once per week and expected your teeth to stay clean. That definitely wouldn't work, and the same thing is true with red light therapy. One really long session is not going to beat consistently doing your sessions every single day. And that is why lesson number 14 is that consistency beats intensity. I've worked with enough people now to see that the ones that get the best results with red light therapy are not the ones that are sitting in front of their device for an hour or two every single day. It's the people who do 10-minute sessions, but they're consistent with doing it every single day. Lesson number 15. So I consider myself someone who is caffeine sensitive. If I drink coffee after 2 p.m., it will drastically impact my sleep. I won't sleep through the night. I'll wake up at 2 or 3 a.m., and that's because I metabolize caffeine quite differently to others. My girlfriend, on the other hand, can literally have a cup of coffee before she goes to bed, and she will sleep like a baby. And that is why lesson number 15 is that people respond differently. I've seen some people use red light therapy and get pain relief from the very first session, and then others I've seen it take 2 or 3 weeks. So when you start with red light therapy, if you see someone that got immediate pain relief, that's a great thing to aim for, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean that red light therapy just doesn't work. You may just be someone who needs to do your sessions for a longer time frame before you get the relief you're looking for. Lesson number 16. In the red light therapy space, there's a lot of trends. Some of these are backed by science, and some of them are just marketing hype. Now, lesson number 16 is that pulsing probably doesn't work. While there are isolated studies that show pulsing is better than continuous wave light, the majority of the research points to continuous wave light being better, But what has happened is that a lot of red light therapy companies now offer pulsing in their red light therapy devices, and they will show you isolated studies. But at the point where we are today, there isn't enough research to conclusively say that pulsing is better. Lesson number 17. If you've ever bought a travel version of an electrical appliance, such as a hairdryer that can fold up, you know that they seem more convenient, but they never give you the same results. Now with red light therapy, there are versions out there, wraps, caps, things that are flexible, that seem more convenient to use, but don't give you the same results. So lesson number 17 is to not chase convenience. When you look at the most effective red light therapy products out there, they're solid panels, and inside those panels, there's drivers, there's cooling fans, all these extra things that are needed to deliver clinical grade light. And these flexible products are not using new technology. All they've done is they've taken everything that's inside of a panel and removed the things that aren't flexible. So they don't have drivers, they don't have cooling fans, and you just end up with a flexible LED mat. This doesn't give you the same type of light as you would get from one of these solid panels. So if you have to do a 5 to 10 minute session every day, don't look for the most convenient product in terms of its usage. Look for the device that will give you the best quality of light. Lesson number 18. When you wake up in the morning, you're probably looking for a strong cup of coffee. Now, if someone replaced that with a decaf version, you probably wouldn't wake up as well. Now, with red light therapy, light intensity is like the strength of your coffee. And lesson number 18 is that light intensity matters. Most red light therapy products out there are not giving you a strong enough light intensity. They're a decaf version of the clinical grade products. So what ends up happening is you don't get the same results as what you see in these studies because you're using a watered down version. So you want to look for a device that gives you at least 50 milliwatts per centimeter squared at the treatment distance. Lesson number 19. Now, while we're talking about light intensity, it is unfortunately one of the corners that a lot of companies are cutting. It's the one where they can save the most money. If they make a much lower powered device, they don't have to use such high quality components. And that is why lesson number 19 is that most companies lie about their light intensity. There's various different ways to measure the light intensity of a red light therapy device. And what most companies are using is a solar meter. Now, a solar meter will drastically overestimate the light intensity. We're talking 4 to 5 times higher than what it actually is. So you want to make sure that you look for a company that specifies what they use to measure the light intensity, and it should be a spectrometer. Lesson number 20. So one of my best friends started running recently and was getting terrible knee pain. He went to a specialist and they found out that the shoes he was wearing wasn't suitable for the type of running that he was doing. So he got a different pair of shoes and immediately had relief in his knee pain. Now, my friend is a size 13, I'm a size 9. If I tried to use his shoes for running, I would not get the same pain relief, or I would actually start getting knee pain. And that is why lesson number 20 is that there's not one product or one device that is relevant for everyone. Different sized devices are better suited to different benefits, and based on what you're trying to achieve, there is a specific device that would work for you, but maybe for someone else wouldn't be applicable. So if you want to find out which device would be best suited for your own goals, I'll leave a link in the description of this video to a quiz. It's absolutely free to take. It's 1 to 2 minutes and you will get a device recommended to you based on the benefits that you're trying to achieve. Lesson number 21. One of the comments that we sometimes get on this YouTube channel is they will look at the benefits associated with red light therapy and then say sunlight is free. But lesson number 21 is that sunlight cannot replace red light therapy. While sunlight is the ultimate source of light, it dictates your circadian rhythm. It's got other wavelengths that red light therapy doesn't have. If you are a modern human, you're being exposed to far too much artificial light, and you're probably not living out in the wild, eating bugs, and getting full sun exposure all day. So red light therapy is a modern solution to a modern problem, and if you are a modern human, red light therapy helps bring you closer to nature. Lesson number 22. So I grew up in a household where we didn't have a lot of money. One of the things that always bugged me is my mom would go to the shop, and I couldn't understand this because I was young, but she would always buy one roll of toilet paper at a time. And I remember when I was young, I never understood that we were struggling with money. I just looked at the price of one roll of toilet paper versus an 18 pack, and it made so much more sense to me to buy the 18 pack. And that is why lesson number 22 is that sometimes the cheapest option is actually the most expensive. One of the best and worst things about red light therapy is that we have so much clinical studies to back it up. Now what's happened is a lot of the home-based companies will use the clinical studies as the only evidence for why their products work. So they will use this as evidence and then create a product that is nothing like the ones used in the studies. And what ends up happening is you get a product that is a fancy party light. It doesn't deliver the same specifications, and the cheaper product ends up being a complete waste of time. Often you can't return it, and then after that you're going to go and have to get a premium device so that you actually get results. Lesson number 23. Sticking with the toilet paper metaphor while we're here, you may have seen that kitchen roll looks like it is basically 2 toilet rolls in one. Now, if you went to go and get kitchen roll and try to use that for toilet paper, either it wouldn't be very convenient or you'd have to saw it off and it wouldn't work as well. And that is why lesson number 3 is that a bigger product is not always better. So if you had joint pain, let's say it was in your shoulder, a $4,000 panel is probably not needed unless you wanted other benefits from red light therapy. You could save a lot of money and might even get better results if you used a portable device and just held it directly against that area. Lesson number 24. So obviously red light therapy can seem like quite an expensive thing to get into in the beginning, but it is a long-term investment. And that is why lesson number 24 is that it's not that expensive. If you go and get a $2,000 panel, and that's got a 10-year warranty, if you work that out, it's only $17 per month. So red light therapy is actually one of the most cost-savvy tools you could use if you want to improve your health. Lesson number 25. I've had many people reach out to me and be concerned because they have metal implants in their body, and that's often because a doctor has confused red light therapy with infrared therapy. And that is why lesson number 25 is that metal implants are fine with red light therapy. Red light therapy doesn't produce the same heat as infrared bulbs, and this means it doesn't have the same risks. It's always a good idea to check with the doctor first, but if they understand what red light therapy is, the chances are very high that they will give you the green light. Lesson number 26. And while we're talking about infrared therapy, lesson number 26 is that infrared bulbs are not red light therapy. I recently took out a spectrometer and was checking the type of light you get from an infrared bulb, and you're looking at between 0.5 and 1 milliwatt per centimeter squared in the therapeutic wavelengths. So infrared bulbs can definitely be helpful. They're great for circulation and for a detox effect, but they're not going to give you the same results as a red light therapy device. Lesson number 27. When you were a kid, you probably heard that sunlight makes plants grow. Now, I remember this was the most exciting thing because I didn't understand it. But then when I got to high school, I realized that this was just photosynthesis. There was an actual process behind this. It's not as exciting, but it actually makes sense. And that is why lesson number 27 is that red light therapy is not magic, it's biology. Red and infrared light is something that we have evolved with. It's what we get primarily from sunlight. Sunlight is made up at minimum 42% red and infrared light at any time of day. So our bodies have evolved with this type of light, and it's completely natural. Our biology thrives with red light therapy. Lesson number 28. So in 2018, I dislocated my shoulder, and I'd been training a lot in the gym. So I'd built quite a good physique, in my opinion. And then when I dislocated my shoulder, I couldn't train anymore. Now what happened in that time is I lost a lot of the muscle mass. But what I found is that 3 months later, when I came back to the gym, I regained a lot of that very quickly. And that is why lesson number 28 is that the benefits don't just disappear when you stop red light therapy. While red light therapy does have a pain relief effect because it helps your body to make more endorphins, it's also healing a lot of the tissues. So I've seen a lot of people who use red light therapy and they'll get pain relief, and then even if they stop, the pain relief stays there. Lesson number 29. So one of the most well-known origin stories around red light therapy is that NASA made it popular because they started using LEDs to grow plants in space. But one of the other uses that made it extremely popular was that a lot of veterinarians started using red light therapy with horses. So lesson number 29 is to use red light therapy with your pets. So if you have a cat or a dog that is in some kind of pain, you can take a protocol that is meant for humans and just half the time and start with that to see how they react. So if it was a 10-minute session in the protocol for humans, you could start with 5 minutes and monitor the animal, but red light therapy has been used with animals for a very long time. And lesson number 30. Now, if you've ever watched a really good movie and then waited a few years and watched it again, you often notice that there's a part that you didn't even see the first time that you watched it. And my hope is that if this video has been valuable to you, there's probably some things that you may have missed. So lesson number 30 is to bookmark this video so that you can watch it at a later stage and keep learning. If you want to find out more about the timeline with red light therapy, I've done another video over here where I break down what you will experience from your very first session all the way up until 2 months plus. If you have any questions from today's video, then please feel free to drop it in the comment section below. Otherwise, I hope that you have a great day further and we'll chat again soon. Cheers.